My name is Ally Keegan, and I'm a criminal defense attorney at the law office of David Shapiro in San Diego, where we help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. I'm here today with one of our incredible legal assistants, Alyssa Rodriguez, who is here to help us learn a little bit about Pretrial Services, which is an organization that she had worked for previously before she joined us over here. And she's going to give potential clients a rundown of what you might expect when you encounter them early on in your case. So Alyssa, let's start with the basic stuff. What is Pretrial Services?
Sure. So Pretrial Services is an agency here in San Diego County that gives sometimes first-time offenders or nonviolent offenders a second chance at being released prior to their case being heard throughout the court or through the court.
And before they make that decision, whether or not you may or may not be a good fit to remain out of custody during the pendency of your case, what types of things does Pretrial Services consider?
Sure. So there are a number of factors that are taken into consideration at your arraignment hearing, where a pretrial services officer could make an argument to the judge or to the court to have you released. They will take into consideration, first and foremost, a risk assessment score, and we'll explain a little bit more about what that is in just a bit. They will also take into consideration your day-to-day life. For example, if you are a single parent or a sole provider at the home, the court is going to try to advocate on your behalf to have you released so that you can maintain your employment and therefore continue to take care of your family. Or if you're taking care of elderly parents, those are all factors that they consider.
And the first thing you mentioned was that risk assessment score. So that would basically be, let's say I have a case that's waiting for my first court appearance, my arraignment, and I'm given a risk assessment score, which is quite literally a number that determines how big of a risk I am to the community. What actually factors into that when you guys compute that number?
Sure. So the risk assessment the risk assessment score factors any failures to appear that you may have at the court. So basically, the court wants to know that, one, you are amenable for supervision, two, that you are going to stay within the county. They want to make sure that they're not presenting a flight risk by having you released. So with the risk assessment score, they're going to look at if you have any failures to appear, any misdemeanor convictions, felony convictions, any parole violations. If you are a first-time offender or a nonviolent offender, those are all factors that that contribute to your risk assessment score.
And then you'd mentioned other factors about your day-to-day life and how that might weigh in your favor or against you. So why is that? Why would possibly being a single parent or being employed, how does that help your case with pretrial services?
Sure. So the court wants to know, verify, and establish your community ties. So with that being said, the court wants to know if you are a San Diego resident, if you're going to stay within the county. They want to know if you are a single parent or contributing to the household of children, that you're able to maintain your gainful employment. They want to know that if you are released, that you're going to continue with any treatment or any programming. So more or less, they want to make sure that they're making the right decision and that they're allowing you to proceed with your case out of custody so that you're able to maintain your family ties, your employment, any treatment, any programming that you're doing ahead of the arrest. They want to make sure that you're able to continue to be present for those things.
So then basically the pretrial services officer takes all this information and makes a report with a recommendation about whether or not that person should be out and supervised or whether they might be too quote unquote risky and should remain in custody. And for everyone out there, so you know, if perhaps your loved one was kept in custody at their first court appearance, not all hope is lost. There are other options that your attorney, if you have an experienced and qualified attorney that knows how to handle these types of things, they can request other hearings like a bail review and basically request that the judge reconsider their decision or pretrial services reconsiders it in light of new information that they didn't already have. The problem is that you only get so many bites at that apple. So you really want to make sure whoever is advocating for you knows what they're doing and they do it right the first time. But there are options if perhaps you didn't get the decision you wanted right off the bat. So, Alyssa, I mean, we've been talking about how the goal here is always to, of course, get the client out of custody right at the beginning of their case, because it kind of puts us and the client in the driver's seat from day one.
Right.
And why is that so important? Why do we care so much about keeping our clients out of custody whenever we can throughout their case?
Sure. So first and foremost, it is important to the court. They want to, with placing you in pretrial services supervision, they want to make sure that if you are given the opportunity to be out of custody, that you are, again, maintaining your community ties, your gainful employment, that you are getting a head start on anything the court may require or ask of you during sentencing. So for example, if you are released on pretrial services supervision, this is a great time to get started on any AA or NA meetings that you will most likely need to complete for your criminal matter. So with being released, they're giving you a head start. So it's the best way to optimize, or to maximize your chances with pretrial services is one, pretrial services at the end of the day is an opportunity for somebody to get a head start on their criminal matter. So with that being said, if you are released, this is a great time to, if you have not already started treatment, that's a great time to start treatment or to start attending AA or NA meetings. At that time, you're kind of compiling a folder of what you're going to be able to present the court to show the court that you're not only amenable to supervision, but that, although you've had this hiccup here, that you are doing everything you can to make sure that you are in control of your life and, taking care of your responsibilities.
Right. Well, thank you for the rundown on pretrial services, and more importantly, why it is so imperative, both for the client and for us as their advocates, to make sure from day one, we're really trying to set them up for success so that they can regain control of their situation every step of the way. So if you are in San Diego County and you are facing a criminal matter and you would like to explore your options and learn a little bit more about what you can do to get your situation back under control, go ahead and give us a call. Our phone number is 619-295-3555, and you can speak to me and Alyssa.